Do you want me to just pick Suspiria or Climax and we can just pretend?
No, we gotta stick with it. Stick to our guns.
Okay, cut that out though, because I don't want people to think I thought about cheating. All right.
I'm leaving that in.
And always remember, spoiler alert.
Welcome back to Same But Different. We're back with Brody in the house.
I made it this week.
Yes, you did. Same But Different, the movie talk show nobody asked for, but we're giving it to you anyway. Let's go to work. We watched FLASHDANCE for this week of May I Have This Dance, May. I feel like it was the perfect follow-up for Saturday Night Fever.
That's a good way to put it. It was another classic that came out around the same time. Classic in air quotes, because like Saturday Night Fever. But that came out around the same time, kind of defined what a dance movie is supposed to be like in the modern era. You know, it's not your Fred Astaire and Ginger ones. It's a new era of dance, and it kind of kicked it all off. It's an important movie that neither of us ever watched, just
True.
like a lot of ones on this show.
True. And like in a weird sense in the movie universe, Saturday Night Fever was the death of disco, and then this was kind of picking up the pieces and putting it back together into a different genre like the 80s.
Do you think the death of disco was because of Saturday Night Fever?
I wouldn't be surprised. Because that movie was garbage.
It was, yeah, and it kind of fell off around the same time. That movie was like a final farewell, but it's the one who initiated the farewell by accident. You disco.
We are the second last week of this month. Next week will be our final movie for May. Do you mind if I kick it off?
I would love for you to kick it off.
Cool, but before we do that, I just want to remind the audience, please, if you like movie reviews, if you like movies, subscribe to the channel, like the video. We're going to release so much more movie content for you, and we want you along for the ride. Please and thanks.
Please and thanks.
I want to start off this review by saying that, like Saturday Night Live,
Fever.
Sorry, I keep doing that. Like Saturday Night Fever, this movie is not what I thought it would be. I said that Saturday Night Fever, for some reason, I assumed that it was a family movie. I also assumed that of this movie. Basically, every movie that wasn't an action movie in the 80s, I feel like they were just PG. That was just a PG movie to me. This was definitely not. It was vulgar, it had sex, it had nudity, it had everything. It was not PG.
But only in one scene, lots of boobies, but there were lots of boobies.
Because you know me. PG movies are always kind of, I start off with low expectations.
Yerp.
So immediately finding that out, I'm like, okay, maybe this will be a little better than what I thought it would be. It was not. It was not. Let me get out the good. You're going to agree with me on this because this is why you suggested the top 5 for this week. It was a cool soundtrack. Lots of energy, just made you want to dance, made you want to tap your foot, as the judge did at the end of the movie there. And it always was very in sync with what was going on in the film, which I always appreciate in a soundtrack. When a soundtrack can just line up with the events. The dancing that resulted from the music was also excellent. There are a lot of talented people in here. None of the actors were the actual dancers. Which is fine. I mean, those dancers got their moment to shine, but it was painfully obvious sometimes that the body doubles were happening.
Yeah.
The best dancing, though, I had to say, had nothing to do with any of the characters, and it was the two boys dancing in the alleyway.
Oh, okay.
Other than that, the overall style and vibe of the film, very 80s, very nostalgic. When a movie can capture a time period and transport me there, I was there for that. That was cool. That's it for good.
I'm so curious.
The acting was garbage. I didn't like any of the acting. The only thing I did like and appreciated was it Richie Blazin, who just kept laughing at his own jokes. That was really funny to me. And I don't know if that was an actor's choice or written in the script or whatever, but I think he got that across really well as just like a floundering comedian. I think that was cool. Didn't believe a single emotion that came out of these people's mouths or across their faces. Leading into the main lead character, not lead female character, lead male character, he was so blech. He was bland.
I mean, his name's Nick.
There you go. Sorry to all the Nicks of the world, but bleh. He was cliche, just boring, and had no redeeming qualities to him. Middle of the road white toast. The plot was very simple. I drew a lot of similarities to Billy Elliot, where, you know, a person just wants to join a fancy dance school. Even to the point where she had an old lady who, wanted her to go get that dance school. That very simple plot was overshadowed completely by all the exuberant style and dancing and everything that they were throwing at us. The plot got lost. I didn't even care if she got in or not. At the end, it's implied that she did, but I was like, if she didn't, whatever. Like, I don't care. Elements of characters didn't make sense, mainly hers. At 18, you're basically peaking in ballet. You don't start ballet at 18. Maybe later in life, that's what she's always wanted to do. That's fine. But I just don't think any respecting school would allow somebody who's never danced before professionally or in a school or trained or anything, the school wouldn't let them in. I don't think so.
They should have made that, even if it was one scene, like if they gave that a subplot, like I'm too old to do this. No, do it anyway. Try. Like that could have at least. Yeah, no, I agree. That was something, yeah.
Yeah, one throwaway line like that would have solved a lot. Also at 18, you're not a welder.
I didn't even think of that.
You're not a welder. It takes years of practice and training to become a welder. And at least a little bit of schooling. It was a cool reveal how, at the beginning they push in and she lifts up her visor and it's the lead female character as a welder and everybody in the 80s goes, a woman? But it's just not realistic. There's no way at 18 even a male would be a welder.
Yeah, they could have at least had her in shadowing or training or something.
Yes.
That wouldn't have changed the plot or the reveal. That's so funny. I didn't even cross my mind that that's silly.
With the 18 years old versus the 35-year-old relationship. Come on, dude. Why are we putting this into movies? I don't get it. It was creepy. It was weird. The fact that he kept stalking her made it even more creepy. They didn't need to make her so young, and they didn't need to make him so old.
I think the latter point. She needed to be. If she was any older, then the ballet. It wouldn't have made any sense. I think they were pushing the limit already. But yes, they didn't need to make him. He could have owned the company at 24. His daddy could have died or something.
Also, you own a company that welds things and works in mines. How do you know everyone? How is he just going into parties and knowing everyone on the board? He knows everybody on the art council. You're not Lex Luthor. You own a mining company. Who are you?
Hey man, everybody loves white bread.
I'm sure I could continue to talk garbage about this movie because I did not enjoy my time. Besides the three things that I mentioned. And because of those three things, and just because it wasn't as PG as I thought it would be, 3.5 out of 10.
3.5 out of 10.
To give a 5 means I still enjoyed my time, but it wasn't a good movie. So anything less than that, I didn't enjoy my time, and it also wasn't a good movie.
Fair enough. It's not going to be a dramatic switch here, but this is at least an inkling of same but different, which is nice because we've agreed through and through on the last few. So I had a good time. I found this movie to be charming at the least. I can't say I liked it because it was campy and it was cheesy and the script was written with goofy and unrealistic dialogue, but I had fun still. I still thought it was enjoyable. I cared about our main character, unlike you. I thought she was interesting. At least I do wish that they focused on, it's not crazy that an 18-year-old wants to start ballet. I get that. It happens, but that should have been a plot point. Because that is too old to start ballet. People don't start playing professional sports until their mid-20s, which is too old. But it needs to be a point of conversation, and we never got that. But I wanted to see her succeed. I really, really did.
You know what would have got me on her team a lot more? If we got some backstory as to why she's 18 years old living in a warehouse and she knows some old lady named Hanna. Who is that woman?
Yeah, I don't know. That was an enjoyable little subplot that I agree they never dove into as much as they should have. Yeah, the soundtrack was a blast. I think the story, yes, very, very simple, very, very cliche, but it worked. It hit all the beats that it wanted to, serving as a cliche, A nice little reveal at the beginning. We got fallouts with their friends, fallouts with the boyfriend, her, I don't want to do this, switching into I do want to do this. It followed all of those beats that make a story like this work very well. And I do agree with you. I think that it's so rare, even 40 years later, I know this was a dance movie, but this was a romance movie, and just for a pure romance to be R-rated, I can't really think of another example off the top of my head.
Love and Other Drugs is the first one that came to my mind for some reason.
Yeah, but that's a rom-com. This is a romance. I agree. The rom-coms can definitely get there. I don't know, like a Nicholas Sparks movie being, I don't know.
I see what you're saying.
Struck me as different, and that was kind of fun. The characters were crass and they were vulgar, but it was never for the sake of writing a crass and vulgar movie. It was just, this is how people talk, you know? You're going to say, I threw the fucking rock through your window, and not like, I did, you silly Billy. Like, these characters are adults and should be swearing, and it just felt like that was the most natural part of this movie, because the acting certainly wasn't very good. But I think hers was. Which is, I think you didn't. I think she was captivating to watch. I think she had a lot of little micro expressions in her eyes as she was trying to like come to terms with things. I also love that they actually cast a teenager to play a teenager, because these sorts of movies don't do that. I didn't love this. Like, I'm just defending it in a weird way. It had some really sweet moments, you know, when she did find out that her old friend, you remembered her name, Hannah. She's the one who died, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That was a sweet little moment, and her reaction to that was nice. And the ending, the audition scene, I was like fist pumping for her. And to know that song was specifically written for that audition scene is really, really cool.
And won an Oscar. What
a feeling.
Yeah.
I just thought that was a song. I didn't know it was written for this movie. And, you know, the message of follow your dreams until you can achieve them. It's a great little...
until you find someone rich enough to get you an audition.
Well, if that happens, good for you. If it doesn't, work harder. In terms of what it was, which was a campy cheeseball of not a very good movie, I think they did a good job with what they had. Plus, her best friend is a dog and a sweet baby angel, and you never even mentioned the dog, you gross bastard.
I forgot.
The dog was amazing. So cute. So sweet.
There was one moment where she comes home and the dog and the dude are waiting outside in the rain. And I'm just like, why?
Why is the dog out there? Yeah. I don't. I'm going to go in, get the dog, then brood outside.
Yeah, what?
I don't know. Not a good movie. It's fairly one-dimensional, and character-wise, except for maybe Alex. You get some Alex backstory, but you don't get much about anybody. Nobody was really memorable. Also, and this isn't a complaint about the movie, but society, I suppose. But why are all of the most viral parts of these old movies so underwhelming when I watch them? The water bucket splashdown scene was so underwhelming and not cool and not sexy, and that's all I've heard about for like 2 decades.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for the time, it blows people's minds, right? They're like, whoa, a girl just got wet on stage on film. Whoa.
It wasn't even like a focal point or like the wide angle slow motion thing that you see spoofed. It was just like a really boring, quick... I don't know. It was like when we watched A Few Good Men, and you can't handle the truth was like a throwaway line. So this movie, genuinely a bad movie, I just enjoyed myself. It's rare that I can watch a movie and be like, that was bad and I liked it, all at the same time. It's so strange. So I actually did give this smack dab in the middle a 5.
Yeah, I figured that was coming.
I can't give it more because it was bad. Why are you upset that I gave this a 5?
I'm not.
Yeah, I figured. Oh, grumpy Derek.
I just turned Southern Prospector all of a sudden.
It was cute, it was fun, it was enjoyable, and it was horrible, all wrapped up. So yes, 5 out of 10 from moi.
Would you watch it again?
Yeah, not myself. In a situation like I was going to watch with our sister Jen, but she wasn't available to watch. But if she came back and was like, hey, I actually did want to watch that, yeah, I'll watch it with her. I actually do want to bitch about something at the end when she finds out her friend went to Zanzibar, which, by the way, was literally a reference to Toronto strip club Zanzibar. They did that on purpose.
Oh, really?
Yeah, apparently this whole movie was inspired by one of the crew members went to Zanzibar or something. Because that's the famous strip club in Toronto. But yeah, when she found out her friend did that and then treated her like that was the worst, most humiliating decision of her life. Like, yep. I get it. I get our ideals and outlooks on exotic dancing, sex work, all that stuff have come a long way in the last 5-10 years. But like to just watch a supportive friend absolutely say, what are you going to do? Waste your life rubbing your back on the ground? It just felt very, very two-faced and out of character for her.
Yeah.
Her friend didn't want to be doing it, which is what they should have focused on more.
Yes.
Not that it's bad. It's that she didn't want to be doing it. Anyway, take your clothes off if you want. Like,
yeah, do it. Take your clothes off. Everybody.
Yeah. Do it!
If you have seen Flashdance and you want to give it a rating, throw it down in the comments below. We'd love to hear what you thought about it. From there, let's just pick the next movie.
Oh, in this Hat of Destiny?
It's back! We missed you, Hat of Destiny.
I do like the stand-in we have, though, the understudy.
It does its job.
Let's pick a movie. Our final movie.
I'm hoping for Suspiria or Climax. Those are my top 2 I want to see.
It's a short piece of paper. Fame.
Fame? Okay, that's cool.
I don't know the first thing about Fame. Like, at
Me
least
neither.
with Flashdance and whatever the fuck we watched last week, I knew kind of something about them. I don't know anything about Fame. Couldn't even tell you what it's about. Is it a musical? I think Fame's a musical.
I have no idea. Does it get disqualified for being a musical? Because a lot of musicals are dance movies.
Ooh. I don't know. IMDb, one of the genres is musical, but then things get called musicals when there's just music in them. Like, people call, like, Whiplash a musical. Like,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Flashdance and Saturday Night Fever were considered musicals, too.
See, that's ridiculous. A soundtrack does not make it a musical. See, this woman's singing, but I don't know if it's, like, a performance or a Oh, my God. Yeah, it's a musical.
Disqualified! Redraw.
We said we didn't want musicals, so... And if we're wrong, and you love Fame, and you were excited a second ago, I'm very sorry. Anyway, let's pick a different one, because what do we know? Here we go. I'm so sorry, Derek.
No!
Hold on.
Is it Honey?
Yeah.
Oh!
Honey. Jessica Alba's Oscar-winning performance.
So, realistically, we're getting one good movie out of this month.
What if Honey's amazing? Is it known as being a bad movie? Honey is a sexy, tough music video choreographer who shakes up her life after her mentor gives her an ultimatum. Sleep with him or be blacklisted.
Oh, this sounds amazing!
Whoa, what a plot!
Oh my god.
Fuck!
Yeah, we'll have to circle back to dance movies sometime.
No. No, we don't.
We'll leave it.
Top 5 soundtracks in movies. Now, this excludes score. No composing, no scores, no musicals, but soundtracks.
Number 5, Pulp Fiction.
Oh, okay.
And it sits at number 5 only because the rest of the ones on my list I listen to more. Number 4, we have the soundtrack to Drive. I love this soundtrack. I own it on vinyl. It's pink and beautiful. And it's just very like 80s synthy. It gives me vibes, and I love the vibes it gives me. Number 3, Baby Driver.
Baby Driver.
Fantastic film, fantastic soundtrack that is edited in accordance with the movie on beats and stuff like that. Number 2, an all-around fun soundtrack that just gets me amped every time I listen to it. Hello again, friend of a friend. Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Absolutely fair enough. It was on my list, but I had 8, and I did have to cut Scott off.
You cut Scott off?
I cut Scott off. I'll explain kind of what I went with when it's my turn, but I'm so curious to hear your number 1 first.
Okay. Number 1, and it takes number 1 because it is the soundtrack that I've listened to most in my life, and it's not very old. It's like 10 years old, I think. Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one. Volume 1.
That makes sense.
Yeah. James Gunn's choices for songs in his movies have yet to fail.
James Gunn knows what he's doing with music. I mean, you put Fratelli's song in Suicide Squad and an unknown Fratelli's song.
Yeah.
I mean, Suicide Squad's not on my list, but he's a lot to be said about that man. Yes, with his...
That's a good soundtrack, though. That could have...
Yes.
If I thought about that, that could have made my list.
I chose movies that the soundtrack stuck with me afterward. For a brief moment, I had Van Wilder on my list.
Wow.
Because those early 2000s raunchy comedy pop punk, it's just my vibe. But
American Pie.
But it could have been any pop punk song in any scene. It didn't matter. So these ones are ones that stuck with me. I still listen to them, and they needed to be the soundtrack to these movies. And also special shout out to Shrek, which didn't make my list, but should have.
Ooh, good shout, though. Good shout.
My top 5 soundtracks to movie, not including scores and not including musicals, just soundtracks. Number 5, Almost Famous.
Ooh, good
Love
movie.
that movie. Love that movie.
Can't remember the soundtrack for the life of me.
That's fair. I mean, a movie that's about music needs a good soundtrack, and this one did it very, very well. Number 4, and this is a movie we watched a couple months ago, actually, and that is Do the Right Thing.
Oh, really?
Absolutely.
Okay. Cool.
It's not my number one, but I'm hard pressed to think of a movie that couldn't have chosen any other songs. The soundtrack was the lesson. The soundtrack stuck with me, taught me things. Incredible. Incredible. Number 3, and don't care what you say because it's not a musical, Tarzan.
Ooh. No, it's not. It's not.
Nope. Nobody sings.
There's one singing song in it.
Okay, but a song doesn't make a musical.
Nope. I'm agreeing with you 100%. I'm on board.
Tarzan is, yes, I still listen to that soundtrack. It makes my heart bleed and swell and cry and grow, and I love it.
Okay.
Number 2, the only one we share, Baby Driver.
Hey, nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
if anything to be said about that movie is the editing and the soundtrack. A million other things too. I love that movie, but those are the two. And the fact that the editing and music went so hand in hand, incredible.
You especially like Kevin Spacey, right?
Yeah. Give me any movie with Kevin Spacey and Ansel Elgort. Just class acts. And then number 1, easily my favorite soundtrack because I'm a giant hipster, and this shaped this was like I was making burning a CD when I was like 16 years old or whatever, and that is Garden State.
Oh, I was about to say Wrist Cutters, but Garden State makes sense.
Oh, fair. I mean, I love Wrist Cutters, and the soundtrack is good, but a lot of the soundtrack is just a fictional band. Garden State, I love Zach Braff's choice. I could have put any of his movies on here. He always has such an amazing roster of. And then there were a few I cut off that were really hard. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? I really wanted that on my list.
I cut that off my list too.
I also cut off Guardians because I didn't want to put the whole trilogy. And I can't say any of them are better or worse than the other two. You know?
Ooh, I can, but obviously I did. That's it. That's it for the episode. We're going to start doing movie news in a different video. So if you want to continue to hear our voices and you want some movie news, look forward to the new video.
By the time you see this, our movie news will have already come out on this channel, so you might already have jumped to the conclusion that we're doing this. But if you didn't, we're telling you.
I'm all confused.
It's confusing because we are, shush, let us live our lives.
Regardless, you're going to get entertainment and content into your eyeballs whenever it comes out, so don't worry.
But until next time, definitely check out Honey. If you've never seen it, or if you really, really want to rewatch it, feel free. So you can come by next week and discuss that one with us. We're both really, really excited about this one.
Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe to our channel. And until next time, Brody, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for talking movies.
Glad I could come back after my super long time away.
Don't ever leave me again.
Love you all. Thank you for
Love
watching.
you,
Bye. Take your clothes off if you want.
Yeah, do it. Take your clothes off. Everybody.
Yeah, do it.